everybody. So I wanted to do a chart for a buddy of mine. I'm looking at DGWR, Deep Green Waste and Recycling. I got 0 DD on this. This is straightforward technical. Let's jump in. Okay. So that that looks like that chart does not look like something I'd want to jump into. Now that's at first glance, and this is at the 9-month. But I think when we dig into it a little bit more, we might see something happening. I will say, as I love bottom feeding, that right there, that consolidation, being as tight as it is, and also seeing those that Bollinger Band squeezing in, that looks good. Now we've seen consolidation before, but not as tight as that. So maybe this is a nice little possible reversal. That 200 day, that's 200-day simple moving average. That's this yellow one right here. It's flat, right? Which means that there's no real long-term trend. So that gives me a little bit of concern. Also, we do have a death cross right there where the 50, that's my green SMA, cross below the 200. So it's got a lot of things against it, a lot of things going against it. That doesn't mean anything. I do love, like I said, bottom feeding. I love it when an MACD is coming up. But you can see right there, if you were bottom feeding there, you got burned when you thought that was going to come above, and instead it just dropped back down fairly significantly. So be cautious on this one. But if I were going to enter, I'd probably enter there on that Bollinger squeeze. But I would keep in mind that if I were really unsure, since I don't have any DD on this, I'd probably wait ideally for a golden cross where that 50 comes back up above the 200, or at least for the 20. That's my red line right there. At least for the 20 to cross above the 50. I just think I'd want something more significant. I mean, clearly money was made. We got a high up here of 8 cents from the low. Was that around 1 cent or maybe even below that? I mean, that is really exciting. Who wouldn't want to have been on that? But look right here. This is what I'm talking about. See those moving averages right there? Right here is where the 20 crosses the 50. And it consolidates there, right, for a while. 20 even gets close to almost going back under the 50, but then it swoops up in a Bollinger squeeze, very similar to this one here, and swoops up. And then when it crosses that, the 50 crosses the 200, that's your golden cross, and it went from 270 to 8. So I mean, lots of profit to be made in safer areas of a trend. But if you're bottom feeding, definitely a good option here, maybe with that consolidation being as interesting. Got some big volume bars here, big volume bars that could get 100% gains on that day, but again, it's a bit risky with that downward trend. Let's jump into a different time range here, the 3 months. And when I look at this, I mean, I do immediately see that slow stochastic is coming up. It's going to cross over its moving average. I've got an ADWM that basically a buy and sell signal is just snaking around that moving average. Look at that consolidation. That is getting tight. It looks like it got squeezed in, and then boom, we got some real action right there in the last couple of days. That's exciting. If I look over here on the on balance volume, over that course of that 3 months, I'm not seeing a solid trend. It looks like it comes and goes. And I've got RSI at 445.31. I do like how that RSI is making a new high compared to this point right here, which was that was June 7th. So it did go down, but now it's making a new high. That's encouraging, but I've also got this massive high over there. So I don't know. I'm a little torn on this one. RSI is a leading indicator, so it's going to predict what could be happening in the future versus a lagging indicator. It's going to tell you what's happened in the past. Let's jump into the 1 month. This starts to get a little more interesting, I think. Right here you've got slow stochastic that went into oversold, and now it's rising up. Same thing similar happened here, right? And it did that, and it went from basically 1 cent to around 2 cents. So good returns there. Again, I'd like to see more of a long-term trend, but that looks good. That looks attractive. It just keeps going up. But again, it hasn't really settled into a buy signal on the 1 month. And I want to jump into the 5-day, because this is where things get a bit interesting. There's that oversold. Look at that. But really look at that on balance volume. Volume rising, 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 rising. In the last couple of days, something exciting happened here. And that's, like I said, for people that are bottom feeding, that's exactly what you're looking for. The MACD looks like that gray is going to curve back up above it. Friday, this stock had 5 million trades volume. Volume was 5 million. You do have a buy signal there in the 1 day. 5 million. 10-day average 1.1 million. So that's hard to deny that that's of significance. Buyers are clearly accumulating, I think. It's an interesting play. For me, I'd like a longer term trend, but maybe this is just what you're looking for. Cheers.